roller coaster of knowledge. From learning about what self-realization means, the Purusharthas, the Indian Mahatmas, Indian culture, and unraveling the concept of the circle of life, and later on diving deep into the effect of what colonialism brought into our minds and how we can overcome that. Traveling through Indian education and history in all its glory made us realize that we as Indians have all the reasons to keep our heads held high and stride in pride. We explored our roots through researching on topics vast and unboxed India. This course has been a multidisciplinary course and graced through all important values of life. The primary purpose of the Bhagavad-gītā is to illuminate all of humanity with the realization of the true nature of divinity. Inculcating these impeccable writings in our lives will lead us to different realms of self-actualization and enlighten our journey, which we call life. Demystifying the sacred text and abstracting the values it teaches is the grail of today's talk. I welcome Pavni to deliver the introductory note to initiate this synopsis.
Thank you, Neerja. Namaskar. I am Pavni from CSCA. We are given the splendid opportunity to interact with an engineer who has graduated from undergraduation and post-graduation and receive his thoughts and ideas. Our honorable speaker, Professor Rupesh Kalesan Sir, currently serves as Assistant Professor at Amrita Darshanam, which is an international center for spiritual studies, Amritapuri campus. He holds a post-graduation in thermal and fluid engineering and is passionate about India and its culture. He has been teaching various subjects related to Indian culture and history for the past 12 years. He has presented research papers in various academic conferences and has also contributed many articles for newspapers, online media, and magazines. He has been a trainer in the youth empowerment program named Sadgamaya for 7 years and also has conducted sessions on Vedic mathematics at Amritapuri and Mysore. His principal areas of interest are Itihasa's Indian contribution in mathematics, Vedic mathematics, Saundarya Lahari, cultural traditions, and many more. The presence of such a personality in our talk is our blessing. We hope that we students are able to seek a little guidance and imbibe from his thoughts.
Thank you, Pavni. We will be conducting a 15-minute question-answer session towards the end. Comments are welcomed as well. Please jot down any thoughts you have so that Sir can clear our doubts. Now, I invite Professor Rupesh Kalesan to enlighten us with powerful tips from the Bhagavad-gītā.
Thank you, Pavani, for such a wonderful introduction. And also thank you, Neeraja, for a very brilliant start to this discussion. So I will just give a small prayer to Vyasa Bhagavan and we will start this discussion. Namostude Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Fullara Vindaya Tapatra Netra Yenatvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajvalido Jnanamaya Pradeepaha. This is actually from Bhagavad-gītā Dhyana Sloka. This means, O Vyasa Bhagavan, who is of very Vishala Buddhi, means mighty intellect, whose eyes are like the petals of a fully blossomed lotus. And it was you who lit the lamp of wisdom filled with the oil of Mahabharata, oil which is Mahabharata. So this is one of the excerpts from the Dhyana Sloka of Mahabharata and Bhagavad-gītā, and we all know that Bhagavad-gītā is a part of Mahabharata. So today we will have a very small discussion on some of the powerful tips from Bhagavad-gītā, and I would be periodically asking you questions also, not just to appease my sincere curiosity to listen to your words, but also to ensure that you have in dozed off, you haven't slept off. So to start with, a little bit of contextual knowledge is very indispensable before we dive deep into this river of knowledge. So where does this Bhagavad-gītā occur? What is the context, etc.? We will have a rough outline and then we will start the discussion. So I guess that all of you might be already aware of a brief sketch of the context. So we know that both Pandavas and Kauravas are paternal cousins who have raised their armies against each other to fight against each other in the Kurukshetra Bhumi. And the Kaurava army is very huge. It has 11 Akshauhinis and all the 100 Kaurava brothers are there, along with many Maharathas like Bhishma. Maharatha means a powerful soldier, maybe like a very major general. So they have Bhishma, they have Drona, they have Kripa, they have Karna, adorning the chief positions of their army. And while that is the Kaurava side, on the other side we have Pandavas, who represents Dharma, who were lesser in number when compared to Kauravas. But we have the 5 mighty Pandavas like Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nagula and Sahadeva. And also they had Bhagavan Krishna himself as the charioteer for them. So before the war is going to begin, Arjuna demands his charioteer, which is incidentally Bhagavan Krishna. He asked Krishna to park this vehicle at some particular position so that from where he can take a look, he can see who all have come to battle against him in this big war, in this great war. So Krishna obeys it completely. Krishna takes the chariot and park it at a very sweet spot from where everything can be seen. Arjuna looks out with very pride, takes a very cursory glance, and with all spirits pumped up, he's ready for the battle, everything. But unfortunately, it won't take long for him to collapse in the middle of that battlefield. He says that Gandivam Samsade Hastat, Krishna, my Gandivam. Gandivam is the divine bow which has been gifted to Arjuna by Agni Deva. He has done marvelous feats using that bow and other arrows. So he says like Gandivam Samsrade Hasta. This Gandivam is dripping off, is slipping off from my hands. Vepadusta Sharirame. I'm getting goosebumps. My skin is getting goosebumps. It's not out of sheer excitement. So Arjuna starts telling all kind of gibberish, logical reasonings to Krishna for making a reason not to fight this war. He says like it would be all the more better if I live like a monk by begging alms, not by this fighting. It would be better than killing all my kith and kin. And he keeps on reciting more and more multiple reasons, which all feels very logical and compassionate. And this forms the first chapter of Bhagavad-gītā, which is known as famous as Arjuna Vishada Yoga, or Arjuna's state of confusion, state of despair. So before we proceed further, now I am going to ask you a question. So what exactly was Arjuna's problem here? In one word, if I am asking you if you can represent this problem in one word, what would that be? Please feel free to unmute your mic and give me a response. What exactly was Arjuna's problem?
Concern towards their family.
Concerns towards the family, Prabit. Okay, I acknowledge that. But would that be a problem? Concern towards it's a very righteous thing to do. We should have concern towards our family, to our friends, to our relatives.
I think he did not want to clash with his family self.
Yes. It's just like one more step addition, extrapolation to what Prabit said. He did not want to clash. He don't want to get into a clash with his own family. I agree. Can somebody narrow down the problem further? We are doing like a research. So you made a big premise with his family. Now clash with family is not acceptable. That's the problem. Okay, can we bring it down? Can we dig more deeper?
Stuck between logic and feeling.
Between Prashant, it was not very clearly audible. Between logic and
logical thinking and feelings. Like
logical
obviously,
thinking.
because
Between logic.
they are definitely going to fight with him,
Uh-huh.
but he did want from his inner feelings,
Mm-hmm.
so he was stuck between those.
Okay, so it is one more step closer. Like it is like a conflict between logical thinking and the emotional feelings. What makes a man? I agree. I agree with all of your answers so far. But if you can give me again some more precise, pinpointed answer, if somebody can make a try, if only you follow.
Whether he is doing correct or wrong.
Whether he's doing correct or wrong. There I would want to make a different opinion. I would disagree with you, Revant, because I know in all certainty that Arjuna knows in all certainty that what he is doing is right and wrong, which is right and which is wrong. He knows. Let us assume he knows. No, so maybe if you ask me, I would say the one word which can represent the exact problem which Arjuna faced is attachment. Attachment. It is there in all, it's reflected in all of your answers. When you said about family, we do not want to clash with the family. He had a conflict between logical reasoning and emotional feeling. I agree completely. I can't agree more, but still, if you want to boil down it to a single word, it could be attachment. Arjuna symbolizes the best example of attachment. Arjuna's problem was not fear. First of all, let me make it very clear. Arjuna was not scared. He was not scared that he would lose. He has single-handedly won against Kauravas. You know, after the Ajnadavasa time in the forest, he has single-handedly won against them. Even all the Duryodhanadis and Karnas and everybody was there. He has won against Gandharvas when Gandharvas captured Kauravas. He has won against Drupada king, who was very powerful when Drona asked him to bring the Guru Dakshina to bring Drupada captured. The Kauravas go and fail, but Arjuna does that, means like Pandavas does that. So his problem was that he knows very well he will win. Winning was his problem here. But this is going to be an end game. This is going to be an end game war. And here, winning means killing your enemy. And just as you all said, I'm just paraphrasing, rephrasing your words. He wasn't ready to kill them. He wasn't ready to kill his family. And boiling, like bringing it down to a more pinpointed answer, he was feeling attached to Bhishma, Drona, or I'm not sure who else too. So here, if we are going to tell about attachment, then we have to make a very clear demarcation between what is attachment and what is love. Are both same? What is your opinion on that? Are there any difference between attachment and love? Yeah, I would leave that question again open to you. It's a very logical discussion, but emotional aspects involved. Are attachments and love same?
Where there is love, there will be attachment.
Where there is love, there will be attachment. I would agree to disagree with you, Prabhit, but I appreciate, I acknowledge your answer. Okay, anybody else?
There could be love without attachment.
There could be love without attachment also.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because
Interesting.
I have seen a Buddhist art, like they make something like Rangoli and destroy that, and the whole purpose of the thing is to teach people that you should not be attached to anything. So actually,
Okay.
they love doing that, but they are not attached. So
That's very interesting, Prashant Kumar. Okay. Anybody else? But I want to know what is difference between love and attachment.
Sir, attachment is emotional based and it is actually conditional, while love is unconditional and it has no expectations.
Nailed it. You nailed it. I don't have anything more to speak after this. In pure one word, it is unconditional. Love is unconditional. Attachment is conditional. That is the only difference. What do you mean by conditional and unconditional? I would explain. Conditional means you want something in return. If I have a girlfriend, I want her to be behaving this way. I don't want her to look at other boys or something. When I ask her something in a WhatsApp message, I want her to respond back in a particular way. I expect the same thing from my family. I expect the same thing from anything. If that is called love, then that's a misnomer. That is not love. We are expecting, conditionally we are expecting. That is just attachment. Once you do not get that back, you are going to be in deep down sorrow. There is no doubt about that. So one is tinted with the expectations and the other one is unconditional. So our relations, you see the relation between a mother and a child. Some occasions you can actually see the unconditional flow of love when the child is small. As the child grows up, maybe the mother also starts expecting more and more. She also wants this child to be an engineer or a doctor, wants to behave this way, that way. Expectations bring, and it brings sorrow also. I'm not telling whether it's wrong or right. That's a totally different take, totally different discussion. But here, I would just want to demarcate, make a distinguishing difference between what is attachment, what is love. One is tinted with expectation, one is not. Our relations can be anywhere between this spectrum. So if this is attachment, from here the spectrum begins, and this is the pure love state where you don't expect anything. You will ask that person to whom you love, whatever you do, you can. It's your matter. I don't care. I just want to be in love with you. Can it be possible? That is a pure love state. It says like it is possible only in the higher states of love, wherein like Mahatmas or somebody, without expecting anything, they can love somebody. In our case, normal human beings, mundane beings, we will be somewhere in this between this spectrum, but we can improve our life. So from the second chapter, Bhagavan Krishna starts answering, and he starts answering and starts asking counter questions to Arjuna, and he begins a conversation, a beautiful conversation, which is famous as Bhagavad-gītā. So the entire message of Bhagavad-gītā is to do your duty. Arjuna, it's your duty to fight. You are a Kshatriya. You are a military general watching the borders of India, China, or India, Pakistan. You have to do your duty, not overcome your emotions. It's your duty to protect your nation. So it's your duty to do it without attachment. Your duty, your responsibility is more important than your attachment. It's more important than you. You might die, but your duty, that should go on. So that is a message which Krishna tells throughout these 18 chapters or the 17 chapters. The first chapter is Arjuna Vishada Yoga. So my next question to you will be this. Arjuna and Krishna, I'm not sure how many of you are aware, they are very near of ages, like they are like 2 years apart from each other. Their age. Like when we are very close in age, we will normally be in very company. We will be very thick friends. Similarly was Arjuna and Krishna. They were very thick friends. They have gone for tours and expeditions, mountaineering together. They celebrated their life together in Mahabharata. I'm not exaggerating anything. From Mahabharata, I can give you instances where they celebrated together. But there wasn't any Bhagavad-gītā in any of these instances. It happened only in the war field. And what is the reason for that? Why did the Bhagavad-gītā happen in the war field? There are umpteen number of circumstances where before Arjuna would, like Bhagavan Krishna could have given these thoughts to Arjuna. He did not. Why in the war field?
Sir,
Yes.
because in the war field we go through many kind of emotions.
Exactly, Pavani. Warfield is the best situation when we are enjoying and when we have no problem at all. Who wants wisdom? Who wants advices? If we are completely relaxed, if somebody comes and gives dumps advices on you, are we going to receive that? No. Warfield is the best place to assimilate this knowledge and practice it in one way or the other. All of our lives, I mean, together in this classroom or anybody you take X or Y, all of our lives are in a war field. I'm just reminded of a very small anecdote, short anecdote story. Once two friends were walking through a forest and suddenly they realized that two glowing eyes were set upon them from the dark, the beastly eyes of a man-eater tiger. And what these friends did was they started running. And while they were running, then one of the persons stopped and he took out his backpack, he unzipped it and took out what? took out a brand new Nike shoes and started wearing that. So the second person who was very near to him was perplexed. So he took a breath and he asked, "Are you gone nuts or what? Do you really think that you can outrun a tiger by wearing this branded shoes?" And the first person hesitantly but answered, "Oh, well, I don't think so, and I don't need to. I just need to outrun you. Why do I need to outrun the tiger? So this shoe is going to help me in outrunning you at least." That's all. The story ends there. It means that he can outrun the second person who will become a prey to the tiger. So this situation is an exact replica of the actual cutthroat competition which we are going to face in our life. You are a student now, isn't it? So you too have challenges, plenty number of challenges. You have to write your assignments on time, which obviously you might be copying from the class topper or somebody, I am not sure. You have to write plenty number of exams, which by this corona time you will have groups specialized to share the exam answers. I get this information from my own students. But you have to attend Viva, which is going to be hectic, where you have to definitely put in effort and study something. You have your parents strictly monitoring you. Maybe they are just sitting near you and listening to this class. There are students who have family issues. I have talked with people who have family issues, who can't go out because there is a pandemic roaming around your town. You can't go out. And after, when you complete this graduation and when you pass out, what happens? You have to compete for a job and then prove your worth and look for appraisal, look for a marriage groom or bride. If this is in a war, then what is a war? This exactly is a war. So this is the war, and Bhagavad-gītā serves as a hand manual for us to lead a life which is purposeful, which is balanced. Lead a life that cannot be broken by such demanding situations like we face now. Lead a life of completeness. So we discussed that Bhagavad-gītā happened when Arjuna faced the biggest dilemma of his life, isn't it? But even then, Bhagavan did not start advising him right away. Arjuna started pouring out his answers, his logical reasonings, and Bhagavan did not respond to all these things. But in our life, you see, we would see people who find immense pleasure in advising us, whether we seek the advice or whether we take it or not. They are not bothered, isn't it? They tell us this is the right thing to do, this is good for you, this would be bad for you, this job is very suitable for you, Rupesh, this is going to be the, this dress is very going to suit you, you have to put your hair like this, you have to wear this. So there will be people keeping on advising you. But unlike them, here you see that Bhagavan is not going to give any advice to Arjuna throughout the first chapter. In the first chapter of Bhagavad-gītā, Arjuna just pours out all his frustration, vents out all his frustration and confusion. And what Bhagavan does is patiently listen to all of them without uttering a single word. But in the second chapter, which is Sankhya Yoga, at one particular instance, Bhagavan starts responding to Arjuna. So what is that instant? It is very important. What is that instant at which Bhagavan started responding to Arjuna? What do you think? No, don't go and Google out and find out where.
Maybe when Arjuna ran out of reasons.
Ran out of reasons? No. When we are confused, no, we will never run out of reasons. We will keep, our mind keeps on pitching new and new reasons. Anybody else?
As Arjuna is in dilemma.
Arjuna is definitely in dilemma. From the beginning, he is in dilemma. But at what point does Bhagavan interferes and tells like, hey, this is not the way to do it?
If he keeps on repeating mistakes.
He is not doing any mistakes. He is telling mistakes. Yeah, I agree. But that's natural. Arjuna can be all of us. We all do mistakes. But my question is, I think my question is not very clear. Maybe I will put it like this. In the first chapter of Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna keeps complete silence. Mom, he won't interfere. In the second chapter, Krishna starts speaking and start advising at some particular point. What is the speciality of that point?
If he depressed like that, the war is not going to win.
That is true, Revan, that is true. If Arjuna remains depressed, this war is going to be a doomsday for Pandavas and Adharma will prevail. But my question was not that. Anyway, I will, shortage of time, I will just continue. So there is one particular reason for Bhagavan to respond back to Arjuna. That is Arjuna's 7th verse from Bhagavad-gītā, from the 2nd chapter. Arjuna says like, Karpanya dosho abhada swapava. Prichhami tvam dharma sammuda cheta. Karpanya dosho abhada swabhava means my nature has overpowered by weakness. I have been overpowered by weakness. Abhada swabhava, with a mind which is bewildered. Prichhami, I am asking you, tvam, I am asking you, tvam, dharma sammuda cheta. Confused. So Arjuna says like, I am asking you, Bhagavan, I am confused. I agree that I am confused. Yes, Sreya Syan Nischidam Bruhitanme. What is Sreya? Yes, Sreya. What is good for me? Which is really good for me? Tell me that. Shishyasteham Sadhiman Tvam Prabannam. I am your disciple now. So instruct me. I have taken complete refuge in you. I am complete refuge in you. I am like a listener. Instruct me. So this attitude of Arjuna actually brings out the Guru in Krishna. Arjuna and like Krishna, Bhagavan Krishna were completely thick friends. As I said, they were together throughout. They used to eat from the same plate. They used to go trekking, everything. But there was never an attitude like I am a disciple to you. I want to know. I am confused. This was not the attitude of Arjuna. They were friends. But at this particular instance, Arjuna had that Shishya Bhava when he said that I am your disciple. So instruct me the right thing to do. And it was at this time Bhagavan started advising. So this is very important for us. We all are students, including you and me. We all are very much students. So I remember a story which is told by Amma. So Amma says like once, there was a wise man, a sage in a village. But he never gave any public discourses and all, talks and all. But the people in that village were very eager to listen to his words of wisdom. So one day, everybody invited him for a public lecture. And grand preparations were made. The decorations, beautiful decorations, embellishments, mic sets, speakers, a big hall, seating arrangements, AC hall maybe. And the hall was filled with audience. And when the time came for this man to speak, this wise man entered and walked towards the mic, and he asked very calmly, somebody's mic is on. Yeah, somebody's mic was on. So he walked towards the mic and he said very patiently, he asked a question, do you know about which topic, about this topic, about which I am going to speak about? So everybody in the hall shouted, yes, in their high-pitched voice they shouted, yes, we know. So the man with a smile said, oh well, if you already know about this topic, there is no point in me talking this topic. So he slowly left the stage to his home. The organizers were shocked and they tried again and arranged another spiritual talk by him on another day. They brought him again. This time, the organizers already warned the audience that to be careful while replying to this person. So this time they asked all the audience to be careful. And what happened? When the time arrived, this sage came and he came to the speaker. He took the mic and repeated the same question. Do you know about this topic about which I am going to speak? This time, everybody shouted, no, sir, we don't know. So this wise man's face like dimmed down like a 0-volt bulb. And he said, if none of you knows nothing at all about this topic which I am going to speak, then what is the point in me speaking? And he just walked out. So the organizers tried again and brought him on stage once again after several days. And this time the same sequel repeated. But this time they were previously planned, the audience. So what they did was half the audience said yes, and half the audience said we don't know to his question. So immediately they thought that they managed to get away this time, but not now. The speaker sighed a relief and he said, well, those half who knows the topic can convey the same to the other half who doesn't know. And immediately he left the stage. And the audience and the organizers were out of their reasoning and wits. However, they somehow convinced him and managed to bring him back on stage another day, fourth time. And again he asked the same question. And this time, not knowing what to reply, the complete audience stood silent. They just remained silent. A needle drop sound could be heard. And in that silence, this wise man started speaking. And he gave a grand lecture which touched the hearts of everyone who has gathered there. So Amma compares this story here. Amma is your chancellor, you know. She compares this story to the attitude of a learner. The first time when everybody said, yes, we know, is the state that when we think that we know about something completely. When I'm going to give you a Bhagavad-gītā lecture, some of you might be thinking, of course, I know Bhagavad-gītā. What is this sir going to tell? That means you are not a recipient. You are not going to receive anything. It is like a glass which is filled completely. If you pour milk into that, that will just overflow. Nothing is going to get added. The second case that we don't know anything is like a glass which is unclean. This is an example by Amma. So if we are not ready to receive the knowledge, we believe like, no, I can't do anything like that. You pour milk into that glass which is unclean, the milk is going to get spoiled. The third case is a glass filled half with another substance, maybe half filled with like butter or like water or some oil or something, and you mix milk into that, it's going to be useless. So haven't you heard, a little bit of learning is, a little bit of knowledge is going to be dangerous thing. So the final example is the actual stage of a real learner, real student. There is only silence when he is completely ready to receive the knowledge. You are complete patience and silence, ready, eagerly waiting to listen. It's like an open heart. Amma also says that when we have the attitude of a disciple like this or a learner like this, we can learn from everything in the world. You know, in Bhagavatam, there is a story of Dattatreya Maharshi. He is a spiritual giant. He is a realized master. And when he is asked who is his guru, he says like, I have 24 gurus in the world. We will get surprised. He says like, when we ask somebody who is your guru, he might say like one person or two person maximum. Here Dattatreya ji says like 24 gurus. He says he learned from earth. Earth is his first guru. So what did he learn from earth? From earth he learned patience. Earth, when humanity is inflicting injury upon earth, earth bears that with patience and gives back crops. So this is a lesson I learned from earth. And he keeps on going, like I learned from ocean, I learned from butterfly, I learned from raven, I learned from elephant, I learned from python. All these are my gurus. So what is this story significant? Why is this story significant? This story is significant. It is not because of these things like earth or ocean or moth or butterfly or raven. These things are important. It is because of the attitude of a learner. Once we have an attitude of a learner, we can gain knowledge. That attitude gives us knowledge. So there are many profound philosophies in Bhagavad-gītā, like what is the nature of soul? What happens when you die? What is bhakti or devotion? What is knowledge? We all have knowledge, isn't it? What is this knowledge? How do we learn something? How do we know something? Why do we react to different situations in different ways? If there is a fight here, all of us, 100 people in this chat room are going to behave differently in that fight. Some might take part, some might run off, some might sleep, some might watch. What is the difference in our characters? What is the difference in good and bad people? What are the qualities of a devotee? Like that, it goes on, etc., Bhagavad-gītā. So I was thinking just to discuss just one sloga. Till now it was just an introduction to make you get accustomed to this treasure house. I will just take one sloga and we will conclude. So this sloga is from the 6th chapter of Bhagavad-gītā, which is Dhyana Yoga. Sloga is this one. Uddharet atmanatmana na atmanam avasadayet atmaiva hyatmano bendhur Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha. Uddharet means lift up. One must elevate. Uddharet Atmanatmana. One must elevate himself. Bring one up himself. Na Atmanam Avasadhayet. One shouldn't degrade oneself. Atmaiva hi Atmano Bindhu. For one person, the Bindhu or the relative is himself or herself. And Atmaiva Jipuratmanaha. One's enemy is going to be oneself. So there is the Shabda used is Atma Shabda. Atma Shabda in Sanskrit, it has three meanings actually. It means soul, it can be body, it can be mind. So the question is, how can one person himself lift himself? I can lift another person can lift me like a weightlifter, but how can I lift myself? Uddharet? No, it doesn't mean that way. This statement means if we have to bring ourselves in our life, we can only do that. Nobody else is going to come and bring you up in your life. And if there is somebody who is responsible for our downfall, it is we ourselves. Don't blame it on the situation. Don't blame it on your parents. Don't blame it on your friends. No, it is we ourselves. You look at the lives of the people who have become very exemplar personalities. Most of them will not be born with a silver spoon in their mouth. They work hard and bring themselves up, be it physically or mentally or spiritually. And that's why one monk who shook the entire world 100 years back, yesterday is in some way related to this monk. You can search for him and what is the relation between yesterday and this monk. He said that the greatest religion is to be true to our own nature. Have faith in ourselves. So it doesn't matter whether you are a God believer or a God fearing person or an atheist or whatever category you yourself want to be. It doesn't matter. If you cannot lift yourself up, how are you going to succeed in your life? That is not enough. You shouldn't degrade yourself also. That's also important. So in the Bhagavad-gītā context, this is about uplifting our mental stature against all feelings and emotions. And this is applicable in different contexts. Have you heard about a person named Jadav Payam? When I read about him like 10 years back, I was like astonished. He single-handedly alone built a forest which stretches for about 1,350 acres. When few decades back, it was in 1979, he's from Assam, I guess. He once witnessed thousands of snakes that died on the banks of Brahmaputra river due to deforestation and due to intense heat. So he decided that I will start planting some trees. So he planted some 10 or 20 trees, bamboo. Then he continued that. He became passionate in that. He took that as his life's duty and continued that for more than 30 years and built an entire forest himself where it's a very thick jungle. You have all the animals there. And he is considered as the forest man of India. He has received Padma Shri and all. And if he is the forest man, there is a mountain man also, Dasarath Manchi. There was a very recent movie based on him. He drilled through a mountain. There is a mountain. He drilled through that alone using a chisel and a hammer. Every day he will go there, pluck some, drill down, pull out some stones, rocks, and start chiseling and go inside, and made a way which is 15-kilometer length. Otherwise, you have to round about that mountain, which will be like 55-kilometer length. So these people had so much confidence in them. And you know your chancellor story. She is Mata Amritandamayi Devi, Amma. She is a 4th standard educated person. 4th standard. She was from a very poor background. When you come to our campus, you will realize this campus is near the seas. She is from a poor fisherman tribe background. Her family is fisherman. Fisherman tribe means they don't have much to earn. They can just make their both ends meet. She is black in complexion. She is a woman. And during that time, here in Kerala, in very like inner villages and all, it's very difficult for a woman to come up. But look at her now. She is considered as the hugging saint in the West. She is considered as the spiritual guru and lakhs and lakhs of people flock around to the ashram to meet her, talk to her. So how did she change? Did her situations change her? No. It is her own effort. So uddharet atmanatmana. So we may not become a forest man or a mountain man or a spiritual man or an iron man, but we can become a human, right? We should not let ourselves down, but bring ourselves up. Why? Because Atmaiva Atmano Bindhu, Atmaiva Vipuratmana. Because you yourself is your Bindhu or relative, and you yourself is your Shatru or enemy. When we ask who is your enemy, some people may be going to prepare a list. This person is my enemy, she is jealous about me. My neighbor is my enemy, my uncle is my enemy, etc. Maybe they are, I don't know. But the most powerful enemy which you are going to encounter is not your neighbor, it's not your uncle, it's not your classmate, and not even a Pakistani or a Chinese terrorist. The most ardent, powerful enemy which you are going to encounter is you. When you want to wake up early and study or go to a gym or do a jogging or something, your mind is not going to allow you to do that. When you know that this thing is not supposed to do, you are not supposed to smoke cigarettes or go fall in prey for drugs, your mind won't listen to you. It will make you do that. So that's the reason why you are your relative and you are your enemy. So now what should be done? How to bring yourself up? Well, I'm not going to answer that. Bhagavad-gītā has inspired lakhs of people, be it the non-violent method seeking Mahatma Gandhiji, or the nuclear Manhattan Project director Oppenheimer, or the modern monk Swami Vivekananda, or the freedom fighter turned spiritual sage Aurobindo, or the famous English writer Huxley, or the philosopher Thoreau, or the Hollywood actor Will Smith. Be it any of them. Don't just listen to a lecture through one ear and let it flow out through the other. When so many people have inspired by this, give a thought that there should be something practically possible for all of us inside this wisdom treasure box. So venture into it and collect it, and collect the gems. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. That was a very insightful talk. It taught us about how we can deal with cutthroat competitions, the Bhagavad-gītā, which is a hand manual to lead a purposeful life, and the 2 chapters of Bhagavad-gītā, and how I am your disciple, said by Arjuna, triggered the Guru in Krishna, and how we have to uplift our own mental stature, and the greatest religion of all is the respect to nature and oneself. Now, we will be welcoming questions and comments related to this talk. Please do feel free to ask.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Ajay.
Sir, I have one question. In the first chapter, you have said that because of the attachment, Arjuna has in a dilemma like that. Without attachment, how the world will be, sir? Without having the attachment.
It is a very interesting and very significant question. I would say one of the most significant questions. In our life, we will be attached to everybody, isn't it? I will be attached to my father, mother, my boyfriend, my friends, my girlfriend, or my sister. Everybody we will be attached. Even to our friends, we might be very much attached. So it is true that we are attached. Practically, we are attached. But Bhagavad-gītā is pointing us to a plane where can we overcome that attachment and still love them? And where will that conflict happen? If there is no conflict, there is no problem in attachment. This conflict happens when there is a choice to be made. When there is a choice you have to make. I can give you some examples if you wish to, Ajay. So suppose if you, I can give you very hardcore examples and very small scale examples also. If you want, I will start with a very small scale example. You are very close friend with somebody like maybe like me. I don't want to name somebody in this group. So maybe if you are very close friend to me and you are attached to me on a friendship scale, and we both are studying in the same class, and it's your exam time tomorrow. You are computer science student, no? So maybe like database, DBMS, database management system, some subject exam, very core exam is going to happen tomorrow. And you are sitting and studying Ajay throughout the night, and you see that I am not studying anything, but I am sitting there and making some cut pieces to copy. It's a real-time exam and not an online exam. Imagine it to be an online real-time exam. And you go to the exam hall, you know that I have all these pieces, and unfortunately I get caught. I started copying and I get caught by the teacher. The teacher intervenes, and somehow I am very naughty. What I did was I just swallowed that bit and I claimed that I haven't copied. And you are sitting near me and the teacher is asking you, did I copy or not? What would be your answer? This is a small scale example which I can cook up in my mind now. What will be your answer?
I will say no, sir.
No. So you outweighed the truth more than the friendship. So it's a balance. No, I appreciate your answer, Ajay. There's no wrong in that. If we would reverse our positions, you copied and I would have done the same thing. Maybe I will give in a lecture that I will tell the truth and all. But in reality, maybe I would say no, because I know the practical difficulties. You have to come back to the hostel. You have to face me back. You have to face 100 friends in your hostel who will be branding you as a traitor if you give away your friend, isn't it? I agree all these premises. So, but there is a choice. There is a choice to keep the truth or your attachment feeling towards your friend. Which one to give importance? So copying could be a very small scale, silly example. Now I can extrapolate it to a very grave incident. Maybe like the Nirbhaya case, the Delhi rape case, wherein one woman was molested and brutally raped by a gang of friends. So if there is one friend doing that way, behaving that way, and if there is one position, you are still emotionally attached to that friend, and you have to give away that friend because that is the right thing to do, will you do the same thing? I guess I don't want your answer because I know in all certainty that you will give away the friendship for that, because you know that is the right thing to do when a woman is treated badly. So I don't want your answer, Ajay. So I'm just telling the examples can vary, the gravity of situations can vary. So everywhere there is to be a choice. So here in this example, when conflicts happen, which is more important is very significant question. So when there is no conflicts, it's no problem to harness attachment. If I can give more examples, like if a terrorist is your brother, will you still be attached to him out of your like brotherhood, or will you be detached to him out of nationhood? These can be just questions you can think in your mind. So in this particular case, Arjuna's right duty was to fight because the complete team has a right on both sides. Maybe if he would have felt attached beforehand, he would have raised this problem, like it would have been a different issue. Maybe Krishna would have said like, okay, you can become a monk, you can leave. But now it's not the right time. It's the war position. He is leading one army. It's like just like running off from the duty. If suppose India and Pakistan is at war and both the tanks are kept opposite to each other and the major general of the army is telling it is not right to kill people, I have to retire. This situation is similar. So what I would say is, in practicality, we can see attachment without attachment, remain without attachment is difficult, but I would say it is not impossible. It is difficult, not impossible. You can do that. Try to love somebody unconditionally without expecting anything. You can practice it from today. Try to love your parents and your brothers and sisters unconditionally. Don't expect anything. Just let the love overflow. If that is possible without attachment, you can remain in that love. It's a very highest ideal. Thank you for raising this question, Ajay.
Thank you, sir, for explaining with the example.
Sir, Dhritarashtra and Pandaraja were brothers, right? And Dhritarashtra is the elder one, then Pandaraja. So how can Pandaraja's children can claim right on kingdom, sir?
Okay, that is a totally different question. which is not going to be helpful for us in our powerful tips from Bhagavad-gītā. But still, since I am very enthusiastic about Mahabharata, maybe I will share my point of view. Dhritarashtra and Pandava were brothers. Who is the rightful heir to the throne? It was Pandu. It was not Dhritarashtra. Why is Dhritarashtra not the rightful king? Because he was blind. According to the kingdom rules, a person who is blind is not supposed to be a king. So Pandu was the king actually. And Pandu receives a curse and he retires to the forest along with Madri and Kundi. And that time he reinstates Dhritarashtra as the king, temporary king, and he leaves. But then again, you can explore the... Somebody is speaking. Then again, you can explore the possibility of Dhritarashtra's sons and Pandu's sons, who is the eldest. If you want to take it that way, then also Yudhishthira is the eldest. Yudhishthira is the eldest. After Yudhishthira is born only, Duryodhana and everybody are born. In that way also, the claim for the throne is Yudhishthira's. Now leave that also. Forget about that. Leave that. At some point of time, it was partitioned. The kingdom was partitioned. Indraprastha was given to Yudhishthira. The other part, Hastinapur, is given to Duryodhana. Both were ruling. The game of dice happens. According to the conditions, what happens? 13 years, they have to go into exile. Give Indraprastha and everything to Duryodhana. They goes to exile. After 13 years, they come back and they claim back their portion only. They are not claiming back the Hastinapur. They claim back Indraprastha, and Duryodhana says, not possible. I'm not planning to give it back. Then you still believe it is adharma from Yudhishthira's side to claim that? No. If I can add more steps, Krishna goes as a messenger, and Krishna asks, no need of Indraprastha. Give just 5 villages. 5 villages for these 5 people, and they will be happy with that. Even that will not be given. Krishna will be ridiculed. No, not even a space where a pin can be put. Pin can be pinned. That much space won't be given. This is Duryodhana's reply. And then alone the war happens. So there are different levels on which you can discuss. So this is anyway not applicable to our Bhagavad-gītā talk. Since you asked this question, I shared my point of view. Yes, hello.
Yeah. Sir, actually, we guys will learn all the stuff like Bhagavad-gītā and everything, but how to, like, other people won't learn this, right? So, like, how to manage that stuff, like.
I am not very sure about your question. Can you make it more clear?
Yeah, actually, we guys would learn Bhagavad-gītā and like something about the spiritual things, but who doesn't like know that, or like who doesn't give value about that, like how to handle them.
I just sighed a relief. I'm not sure how to handle somebody who do not believe in Bhagavad-gītā and all. We appreciate its beauty. So I would say, first of all, the change starts from us, isn't it? We have to change. So even Swami Vivekananda has said, like, the most difficult thing to do in life is to master your mind. Can we master our mind? Can we conquer our mind? If you can conquer your mind, you can conquer anybody and everything. So with your words, with your actions, everything. So the most difficult thing or the most significant thing to do is we assimilate the values of Bhagavad-gītā into our life and let our words speak, let our actions speak, let our actions, words and everything be a role model for the others. That is what I believe. Otherwise, we can share. If you are asking on a practical level, like you got Bhagavad-gītā in your classes in other colleges, is not there. If your question is on that level, maybe we have to discuss with others. We have to arrange seminars, conferences where ideas can be exchanged. We have to encourage discussions on Bhagavad-gītā. We have to run. You have to take initiatives, etc. So that is on a practical aspect, but in the more dense core aspect, the primary thing to do is we ourselves understand it, assimilate into our life. That brings the difference. That will definitely bring the difference.
Hello, sir.
Yes. Hello.
Yes, sir. I have one question. In the Bhagavad-gītā, it said that in the second chapter that Lord Krishna, he teaches Arjuna lots of things that affect the war. So what if Lord Krishna didn't teach Arjuna all the lessons that helped him through the war? What would have happened? Like, would we still be learning the same things that we learned in the Mahabharata?
The last part what you said was not very clear. Last part, just the last.
Yes, sir. I meant if Lord Krishna didn't verbally explain or wasn't a guru to Arjuna, then how would that have affected the war and what we learned from the Bhagavad-gītā or the Mahabharata?
Okay, so this is like a question which is arbitrary. Like if this suppose would not have happened, then what would have happened? A question like that. Okay. If Bhagavad-gītā would not have happened, then it can be like this can only be. I can only tell this from my point of view. There is no reality for this answer. Means this is not a reality actually, isn't it? It's just my thoughts on this. So
yes, sir.
Yeah. Then that means Arjuna is not confused. Arjuna just goes for the war. Arjuna is not confused. There is no advice from Sri Krishna. The war happens. Maybe like Pandavas win just like it used to be, and it continues like that. Will that be a loss for the humanity? I don't think so, because Bhagavad-gītā is considered as, about this sloga. I chanted one sloga from the beginning, no? Namostude Vyasa Vishala Buddhe. So there is a continuation of that sloga. It is like Sarvo Upanishado Gavo, Dogdha Gopala Nandana. Means all the Upanishads are cows, and the milkman is Gopalananda, this one, Krishna. So the milk is Bhagavad-gītā. Why it is this sloga is like this? It means like the whatever things you listen in Bhagavad-gītā, no, that things are already there in Mahabharata, already there in Vedas. It is just a different way to put it. Bhagavan Krishna just makes a situation and puts that whatever knowledge is there in Upanishad, he just tells in a different view. So that's the reason why Bhagavad-gītā is considered as the milk of the cows, which are Upanishads. Upanishads means Vedas. So if Bhagavad-gītā was not there, the knowledge is still there. It is there in Upanishads or in the Vedas or in Mahabharata itself. You read Mahabharata, similar kind of, Bhagavad-gītā is just one Gita in Mahabharata. There are more interesting Gitas in Mahabharata. There is one, just to appease the curiosity, I would say there is one Gita known as Vyadha-gītā. Do you know what is the meaning of the term Vyadha?
No, sir.
Vyadha means a butcher who lives on the meat. He gives a Gita. He gives a spiritual discourse, how to live. And it's very touching and it's very beautiful. And I think without Bhagavad-gītā, there will be many more Gitas inside Mahabharata. Vyadha-gītā is there, Anu-gītā is there, Bhikshu-gītā is there. Bhikshu-gītā means a bhikshu, a monk gives a Gita. Gita means just a song. So if Bhagavad-gītā is not there in Mahabharata, it's not going to make a big difference. But Bhagavad-gītā is one grantha or scripture which is followed throughout in India, in any ashram, and it has inspired. I just named a few people like Gandhiji and Huxley and all, Thorai and all. But there are thousands of people who have got inspired by Bhagavad-gītā because it's very practical. The war field which happened thousands of years back is the same war field which we are going to live today. So you can assimilate the essence and you can live that up to the expectations. So that's my take on your question. I'm not sure whether that satisfies your hunger for this answer. I'm not sure.
Yes, sir. I actually have one more question.
Yes, please.
If, like, you have told me that there are many other Gitas in the Bhagavad-gītā, what made the Mahabharata like stand out? Like, why not the other Gitas?
All are, yeah. Why not the other Gitas? Why Bhagavad-gītā is so special? Because Bhagavad-gītā covers things more elaborately. You know, the Vyadha-gītā. The point of Vyadha-gītā is to narrate the importance of just one aspect of life. Normally, we have an aversion towards people who do hunting, isn't it? Sometimes we even see like people who are vegetarian are more bhaktas or more devotees, etc. So in Vyadha-gītā, you would see a totally different angle to the situation. The Vyadha says like, it is not like that. Whatever dharma you are in, you do your dharma. That's enough. You don't need to go to the Himalayas and do tapas and all. Do your dharma, and that will make you enlightened. That will give you knowledge. This is Vyadagita's essence. This essence is there in Bhagavad Gita, but Vyasa Gita ends by that. But in Bhagavad Gita, there are plenty number of discussions happening. So if you take all the Gitas and compare them, Bhagavad Gita is special because of the ways in which it has covered many things. I could just tell one sloka. No? There are like Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, what is devotion, Jnana Yoga, what is knowledge, the Yoga of knowledge, then the Deva, Sura, Sambat, Vibhaga, like that, it keeps on going. 18 chapters full of wisdom is there. So that is the reason why Bhagavad Gita is special. Not just because it is spoken by Bhagavan Krishna.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So my
Yes.
question is a little bit different from history, sir.
Yes, Ritik, no problem. You can ask.
Yeah, sir. Actually, like my question is that how to handle a tough situation with a peace state of mind, sir. Like any situations, like multiple situations or like that.
That is the practical question.
Yeah.
As in my lecture towards the last, I said there are ways to handle tough situations, but I wouldn't say that. I did not say that, and I did not say that purposefully because I want all of you to go and look into Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, you will just listen to me, and you might believe me, or you might don't believe me. So, in fact, there are tips. There are plenty number of tips to handle situations. How to be equipoised means without fluctuating or wavering our minds. How can we remain calm at situations? That is the essence of Bhagavad Gita actually. So there are lot number of discussions on that, but I am not going into that. I would advise you, Ritvik, to
Yeah.
read it yourself. And if
No
you have
problem.
any doubts, then you come back to me. I will certainly have a very encouraging discussion with you on the
Sure, sir. Thank
practical
you, sir.
aspects also.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Dilip.
Yeah. Sir, I had a question like Arjuna done Kurukshetra for his property, right, sir?
For his
In that process, he has killed so many soldiers.
Yes.
It was immoral, sir. But as per Bhagavad Gita, it was telling us like morality. But after Arjuna sacrificed so many lives, after he has been even heard the Bhagavad Gita, then what was the ultimate saying for Bhagavad Gita, sir?
What? I could not catch your question.
Actually, yeah, here in the Bhagavad Gita in war zone, no, sir. And also here in the Bhagavad Gita, also he has sacrificed so many of his soldiers' life for his self-interest, like property.
Okay.
Then what was the ultimate saying for Bhagavad Gita, sir?
Ultimate saying of Bhagavad Gita, from the context what you are asking me, and also from the complete context of Mahabharata, is to give more importance to dharma. Dharma means what is the right thing to do at the right time. What is your right thing to do at the right time? Dharma. Everything, dharma has a leading edge. Maybe we say the term, no? The highest edge. Everything comes behind that. If dharma is righteousness, if you compare dharma with your friendship, you are close friends to somebody, that friendship come behind that. Throughout Mahabharata, you can see such examples. If you are going to weigh money and dharma, Bhagavad Gita or throughout Mahabharata, the example is don't give weightage to the prosperity or the money, give weightage to dharma. This can be, we can draw a parallel to the modern day context also. Maybe somebody is offering you a bribe. You are doing a government office and somebody is offering you giving you bribery to do something particularly offensive, criminal. You have a choice to make, isn't it? You have a compromise to make, whether it is righteousness or whether it is the money or the prosperity which you need. So Bhagavad Gita and in essence Mahabharata throughout echoes this message that do the dharma, do your dharma. So that is what Arjuna does. Arjuna was confused. Arjuna was confused whether it is his right duty to do dharma or whether it is to run off from the war field. And Krishna clarifies that. Krishna tells him that your duty is to fight. is to, you are a soldier, you are a born soldier. You have to fight. I'm not sure whether I have clarified your answer, big question, but it was a complex kind of question also. Like I did not catch it very properly. From what I understood, I just gave my answer.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Sir, if Krishna is on Kaurava's side, what may be the result of the war, sir?
That is a very arbitrary question. Krishna is, first of all, Krishna is never on Kaurava's side. There is one more statement. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna. Like that. Maybe I'm not sure whether you have heard this statement. Means where there is Krishna, that side is of Dharma. Where there is Dharma, Krishna is going to be that side. This is a famous statement in Mahabharata. So Krishna, don't take him as a person. Don't take him as a human being of 6 feet 4 inches height, who is very strategician or a politician or a diplomat or anything. Consider him as a inhuman being. Consider him as the God's grace. In that context, that will be along with only that place which is right. If you are doing something right, then Krishna is going to be with you only, irrespective of whether he is a person or not. That means we can say God always goes along with the righteous person. There is a statement like that. You do right thing, you do the truth, you stand for the truth. Nobody else may be going to be along with you, but God is going to be along with you. That is the understanding of Krishna. So Krishna is not going to be on side with Kaurava, whatever it is going to be, because they are doing adharmic things. So when there is a demarcation between dharma and adharma, it's always Krishna on the dharmic side. And wherever there is Krishna, the victory is going to be there. That is the statement meaning. Wherever there is dharma, Krishna is going to be there. And wherever there is Krishna, the victory is going to be there. So it can be extrapolated to our lives also. Stick on to our dharma, duty, our righteousness, our truth. And maybe our friends will oppose it, maybe our parents will oppose it, maybe our relatives will oppose it. Doesn't matter. God is going to be along with us, whomsoever it is. Or if you do not believe in God, doesn't matter. That dharma or the righteousness, that power is going to be along with us. And wherever that power is, after all, that part is going to win. Maybe not instantly, but finally the win will be with that part.
Hello, sir.
Hello, who's speaking?
Yes, sir. This is Ritik.
Ritik.
Yeah. So my question is, like, Krishna only gave the knowledge of Gita to Arjun, and like not anyone else. So had he given the knowledge to the entire war zone, we would have like, according to me, we might have saved a lot of lives and like made a lot of people like pure and sane by giving the sermon to everyone.
Okay. Very nice question, Ritik. But let me tell this. Now there are 100 people in this classroom, isn't it? How many are there? Let me check. I guess it's not visible for me. I guess some 100 people are there in this classroom. 103 plus like 9, 110. If suppose I am giving you an advice, today you have to do this and do this sadhana, do some mantra japa 4,000 times. How many of you are going to listen to me from this classroom? I guess maybe even you won't listen to me, Ritik, because it depends on a lot of factors, isn't it? The first and the foremost thing it depends is like how much trust you have on my words. Yes or no? If you have to follow something which I say, you have to have complete trust on me. If you do not believe me at all, how are you going to follow me? So in that context, when Krishna tells Bhagavad-gītā whether it is going to be useful for the others, this question can come in different contexts also. Why didn't Krishna tell this to Duryodhana? Why didn't Krishna tell this to Saguni? It would have saved the game, isn't it? There can be even a question like that. Thank you so much. There can be even a question like that. But why didn't he do that? Because they are not going to listen to him. They are still going to frame him as a Pandava side adharmic person. So that is one point of view. So why Krishna told only to Arjuna is because only Arjuna is the worthy recipient. Only he wanted that knowledge. Others, maybe they will just listen and throw it away from the other ear. That is one reason. The second reason, maybe I would say, like, is Arjuna had the perfect quality. Arjuna is the perfect representation of human effort. You see Arjuna as a very talented archer, isn't it? We see him as a very skilled archer. But you know how much effort you would have put behind that? You see, like, we always say, like, Virat Kohli is a great player, or Sachin Tendulkar is an awesome batsman. Vishwanathan Anand is a beautiful chess player. But how many number of hours would Virat Kohli or Sachin or Vishwanathan Anand would have put in back there in their practice time? Similarly, Arjuna has practiced tremendously, and that's why he is a very skilled person. He practices at night also. Mahabharata, when you read, when everybody sleeps, he goes and practice, and that's why he is a skilled archer. So Arjuna is definitely a special person. He is a representation of human effort. How much effort one person can put, he is a representation of that. So if Krishna is God's grace, Arjuna is human effort, this simply means effort and grace should come together for success. That could be one message. I can even give more examples for you, Ritik. One more thing is, like, Krishna never said, like, or only Arjuna should listen to this. And how would this 18 episodes Krishna would tell to Arjuna when everybody is not listening? Has everybody stuck in a like frozen in space, or what? When this conversation happens, are they frozen in space, all the rest of the team? No, they are also still there. Then haven't they listened? They would have listened. Many people would have listened. They wouldn't have got a thing, probably. So that's my take.
Thank you, sir.
At the end of the road is the beginning of a new adventure, where we all have gathered so many values as gems to beat our thoughts and see life in a new disciplined perspective. Handing it over to Gayatri to give the vote of thanks.
Remembering the small amount of water which it was given in its early age, the coconut trees carry nectar like water on their head throughout their life. In the same manner, good and noble people do not forget a favor done to them. Namaskar. This is Gayatri from CSEA, and I'll be delivering the vote of thanks for this session. First and foremost, I would like to express my gratitude to Professor Rupesh Kaleshan for taking his time out of his busy schedule to enlighten and energize us with his wise words. On behalf of CSEA and CSED, I wholeheartedly thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to thank Suraj sir for organizing this wonderful session. We hope there will be more of these insightful talks in the future. And finally, I appreciate each and every student present here for showing their support by participating today. Thank you all, and Namaskar.
Before you conclude, let me also tell thanks to all of you. You were a very nice bunch of students. Thank you for your patient listening and your wonderful questions. And thank you to Suraj sir also for giving me this opportunity to interact with such a vibrant gathering of youth. Thank you.
I would like to conclude the session. Om Lokah Samastah Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Lokah Samastah Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Lokah Samastah Sukhino Bhavantu. Thank you, Rupesh sir, Suraj sir, and the students of CSE A and D for being present at this mini conference.